Welcome back to the Mid-Year Mitch YouTube channel. In today's episode, we're finishing up the 67 Corvette Overkill. We're going to do some work on the body seams. I'm going to splice in a couple pieces of fiberglass, make some replacements, fix some holes, and just get this thing ready to go to the next body shop. So be sure to stick around. So this is a 67 Corvette that I built a couple years ago from two different halves, a back end and a cowl. We put it on a Roadster Shop chassis. I replaced the quarter panels, put the front end on it once. I didn't like how it fit, so we ripped it back off. And we're installing press molded side fenders on it. I redid the way the inner fenders fit, and we redid the way the hood fits. So that's what we did in the last video. Got the front end and the inner fenders to the hood surround fit. And I just released the porta power, which was putting pressure from the core support up to the header bar under here. And we let that on there while the glue dried. So it glues all the way around the parking light panel down here, back around here, and then it glues across the top here. And this whole fixture is made out of 80/20 that I got off McMaster-Carr. And the whole idea with this is just to give us a surface that we can push down on the car. So now we can release all of these clamps and see what we have. Our gaps, I mean, they look pretty darn good. I think this is almost perfect. The hood is just a little too high here. Whenever we glued this, we left a shim in here. So we're gonna pluck that shim out, and that should get this almost perfect to where it needs to go. So we're gonna get this apparatus out of the way, because now we need to work on these side fenders. So these are from Vetmasters. These are the correct style, press molded fiberglass. There's no gel coat. You can see the fiberglass grain. This is hand laid, and it has a gel coat on it. It's thicker than a factory panel. This is the right thickness of a factory panel. And because we're dealing with that, if you look down the side of the car, you can probably see that this sticks out higher than this, which was part of the reason why we weren't having very good fitment up here. With our fixture out of the way and moved back for our next glue, you can get a pretty good idea of how our hood fits. And I wanted to move the fixture back here before we start adding any fiberglass. Let's actually push on this the way that I want to with this fixture. The main reason I built this fixture was to push basically right on this body line. And you can see our panel fits pretty nice the whole way down. It's a little low right here, so I could put a real light skim of Fiberall in here. The main area we have to add, you can see there's a little bit of a air gap there. We're a little thin right here, so we're gonna build that area up on both sides. This side's going to be the same. It's gonna be low. And if we look at our door, you can see that our door sticks out just a little bit further than our fender here. So we're gonna wipe the whole way up pretty much, except for maybe the body line. But pretty much from here the whole way down, we're gonna hit that and the whole way across here. I prepped my fenders. I spread some Fiberall, let that cure up, and I ground that down. Now we have our panel mocked back up, and it fits a whole lot better. I could probably put one clamp here, but it flows really nice. We have good gaps. I got it right on the first time. And I also have one of my little panel spacers in here. And these are my panel spacers. I talked about these in the last video. These are a prototype of them, but basically you just break them off. And you can put them, you can tape them to the panel that's fixed, which is the door, and we're gluing on this fender, obviously. So I taped this in place, so that way when we take this off, we put glue on it, we put it back on, we line up our body line, we slide this till it hits this, match up that body line, clamp it, it's in the exact same place. We didn't have to use any locating screws, we don't have to drill any holes, we don't have to fix anything, we don't have to worry about screw holes coming back. So that's just another little tool that I'm gonna make to hopefully help speed up the process. Now I should peel that tape back a little bit so that way we can see our body line. We don't wanna cover that up. So all that looks good. We're gonna take these off, wipe down our bonding seams. We're gonna have to get a couple clamps in the inner fender well. This is floppy right now. I kind of just line it up with about 2 or 3 fingers widths is about where I set those at and clamp it, and that has worked out pretty good for me. So now we're gonna get our dynamic glue out, shoot that in here, and get these 2 panels locked on. So I applied the Pro Set adhesive and we let this thing sit up for a couple days. And it looks awesome. I did my best to kind of smooth it out. We wanted to have a good bit of glue shooting through the backside just to make sure we have a good bond on here, and everything looks pretty nice. It's obviously messy, but we're gonna go over this with a DA to knock off the uglies. Let's get this frame out of the way, and then we're gonna work on our seams. You can see the driver's side also turned out awesome. There's some little chunks and stuff I have to sand off, but this is nice and smooth. It's settled a little bit. You can see, you can feel the seam a little bit, but that looks awesome. So we may have to cut the doors open. They may be glued shut. We'll use the body saw for that if we have to. Now with the fixture out of the way and the seam sanded up, you can see it looks pretty good. There's obviously like a little void here. All the shiny spots are lows, but the panels match up really, really nice. This is a good flow the whole way down. It's a little bit low right here, but we're gonna dress the seam anyway. So now what we're gonna do is grind some of this glue back, and we're gonna V the seam a little bit. We're gonna rough everything up, kind of like how we have here. In case we get any over here, you know, we wanna make sure that we have a good surface to bite into. So we're gonna do the seam through here, and we're gonna do it through here just to make sure this lines up and make sure we have a nice radius here. And then we're gonna dress areas like this. You can see this is a void in the fiberglass. Whenever you do hand-laid fiberglass, this is something you can end up with, and this is just gel coat peeling off. So in corners like this, the fiberglass wants to kind of flatten out, and that gives you the possibility for this kind of a void. So this is something that you'd want to chase, and you'd want to open this up to make sure that, you know, it doesn't keep going along this seam. There's one here, and I just noticed there's one in this top cap. As I was sanding, I saw a little divot here, and I poked at it, and it started to pop through. So I'm going to look for any of those. I doubt if there's, you know, these two, I doubt these are all of them. Hopefully, by replacing the gills with press molded ones, we got rid of some of them here. But whenever, I'm not going to fully sand this whole front end. Whoever does do that to prepare it for paint, you know, they may find some. There's one here too. They may find some more of these, and I'm going to tell them to watch out for that, because you don't want that lurking under your paint. But we're going to go ahead and dress these seams. So I prepped all these areas first with the DA back a few inches, just in case we get a little bit of our fiberglass back here, it'll stick and we don't have to worry about adhesion problems. Now I dished all of this out. If you can see a little bit of daylight shining through there, so you can see we've got an area to fill. We wanted a void so that way we could fill. I sanded all the way down to this body line with some pretty good rough stuff, and we got into this good. So we're just going to come through and wipe our fiberglass the whole way along the seam, down here, across here. And I did chase this. There was just that little puck here that kind of gave out, but as I started sanding, the gel coat continued flaking off, and I chased it all the way to here. We're going to fix this, and whoever does this, I'm going to tell them make sure you check it the whole way up here and across all of them, really, because this very well could just keep chipping the whole way through here. But for what we're doing, I just wanted to fix some of the obvious flaws, and this is what we're going to be using. Fiberglass. I ordered Fiberglass and they sent me Fiberglass Light. They're both good. I think the light will be a little easier to sand, but this isn't anything structural that we're fixing in here. And you can see we have it all dished out as well, DA'd. And I also did this area up here. Again, I dished it out a little bit in this area, and then I made a bigger area, just chased out anywhere where it started flaking. Anytime I found a little pinhole or a little bump, I dished it out a little bit. So that way we have good adhesion. We want to make sure there's no issues with our foundation for every layer we build up on. And I also dished it out here. There was a little bit of a step here that I left whenever we fit this the first time. That's just to give you a little extra length if you need it in the door, which we do. So I'm going to put some tape on the door. We're going to build this fiberglass up so it'll kind of ramp up to the door just a little bit right here. It looks like our gap is a lot worse because, one, I sanded it, but two, it stepped. This was a good 1/16 or more lower than this. So we'll just flow that into the door and that'll be perfect. And if this was a structural issue, this is a gel coat issue that we're chasing here, I would say to use some fiberglass matte. But since this is just kind of cosmetic in the surface layer, using a fiberglass filler is just fine. So I have the seams knocked out on overkill, and they're not perfectly sanded out yet, but they are roughed in pretty good. You can see we have a nice transition to the door. Again, it's still going to need a little work, but I just wanted to focus on this seam right here to make this flow nice. We did have this little air pocket that I found. I ended up chasing it pretty far out to try to get it blended, and this body line needs refined now that I went and did some surgery. But this fiberglass sands out nice, and this will turn out pretty sweet. It's not perfectly level, you know, it's going to need another skim coat and then really blocked out. I just kind of hit it with the machine and got it quick. But you can see how much better all this looks and how nice our transition is to the door. I still have more sanding to do here, but this is much better than it was. We actually have something to work with here. So I scuffed the quarter panels first with 80 grit to remove any extra paint and to scuff the quarter panels. Then I came through with the carbide and just ground out a trough in our seam here between the quarter panel and the rear deck to give us a starting point. Then I came through with 24 grit and V'd it out and roughed it up and got it ready. And then we have our fiberglass on here. I got a more flexible spreader this time. I get them at O'Reilly's, and that helped us get a lot nicer look. I think it's still gonna need probably another coat right in here, but this side turned out nice. This side had a little bit of a weird transition right here, but that all blended out. Again, it may need a little more in some areas. I tried not to go as heavy, but I think that turned out real nice. So now we did some other prepping. Over here on the driver's side, you can see there's a bit of a cavity here, and the reason that is because this is a new panel and this is a new front end. Typically, whenever they build the car, they would just come through and fill all this with adhesive, but since these are both new parts, I never did that. So I scuffed this area. I'm just going to do from here up. It still needs done from here down, but I'll save that for the next guy. I don't want to take the doors off. This needs glued as well. I was trying to keep the patina on the car, so I didn't remove this. I didn't want to fully remove it, so I just cut through the pop rivets. So I scuffed it with my carbide, and I'm just going to shoot some glue in here and snap that shut and get it into position, and that'll be just fine. I scuffed the back and the front in the back there to hand lay some fiberglass. So we're just going to put foil tape on the other side of this, hand lay it. That'll be good whenever they lift it up to do the underside. They can finish all of this stuff up. We're just getting all of it installed. And then we have a couple slightly unorthodox repairs. Again, like I said, I was trying to keep this car original patina from the cowl back. It had radius quarter panels on it, so I didn't want to pull the quarters off and to pull this pillar off to fix the rust. This car, I think I repaired it from like here down to here pretty much. So I ended up cutting this piece of fiberglass off, and I was getting ready for Carlisle, and I didn't prep any of it. I just stuck this on here with some glue temporarily, thinking I would fix it later, but then I ended up selling the car. So we pulled that back off. I built it up with some fiberglass in the back to give us a bonding strip. That way we have something to bite to. I'll probably put some foil tape back here, and whenever we put glue on all of this, that'll seal that in real nice. That glue bonds to metal and to fiberglass, so we're good. I had a little hole here that I filled with some fiberglass, and then we're splicing together 3 pieces of rocker, and this half was stuck to the car, so I couldn't fiberglass the underside. So what I did is I took a piece of, actually I think it was of rocker. We're gonna glue this on the back side here, and that'll give us a nice strong backing, so that way when we fiberglass the front, we won't break through. Be nice and strong. This area I found a crack, so I scuffed it. We're gonna fill that full of glue, same with here. And then when you fiberglass over it, it gives you something to sand into, gives you something strong to back it up. And then we had a damaged piece of fiberglass here. So once we do all of those repairs and scuff the back, that'll be a lot of the kind of ugly repairs that need to be done. There's still more stuff that needs to be done, like this seam and this seam and these, and you know, several other areas, but I just wanted to get a lot of the rough stuff done so it looks like the nice respectable car that it is. So I pushed overkill outside, swept the shop up. It's very windy out there, so excuse the extra noise. Wanted to blow it out before I did some hand laying on the inside. So we have that patch, this patch, and this one over here. One thing I like to do before I lay up something in a corner like this is grab my fiberglass and scrunch it into a little ball before you put resin in it. That kind of breaks up some of the tension in it. That lets it be more malleable so you don't get an air pocket down here. So all that looks good. That's gonna need some work underneath, but whenever it goes to the next shop, they're gonna take the body off on the lift and do the whole underside of the car. So they'll do that then. You can see I sanded this up. This is still gonna need a fiberglass on either end, but again, we're gonna save that along with this for the next shop. But you can see this is much better than what we had. All these gaps need done the whole way down. I just kind of did them up here a little bit, and then there's our repair down there. So I just wanted to rough the repairs in, and then the next guy can really finish them off. This is going to need more sanding. It's going to need a skim coat. I really should be using a block for this. I like to use the DA to knock it down, and then use a block or like a long board to sand it, but we're out of paper for that. So I just roughed it in. It's going to need another coat anyways. So, you know, again, save it for the next guy. He's going to have to do that seam. And I don't remember the taillight panel having this crack in it, along with some of the stress cracks along here. So I didn't end up doing this because I don't know how they're going to want to repair that. It's kind of unfortunate. So, I mean, it could have happened before I even bought the car, honestly, or it happened when they lifted the body, or we lifted the body or something. That's pretty common, but when it was a patina car, I didn't care about that stuff. But now that it's being nice, you know, that matters. So they're gonna have to do the same thing through here and just kind of skim this area a couple inches out to blend it all together, and it'll flow together nice. Had to put the antenna back on because it's Overkill's tail, and he is happy to be going home. Yeah, so that turned out nice. And then over here, you can see, again, this is gonna need hand sanded with the door in the way. It's a little bit of a pain. I just kind of roughly sculpted this in just to make it look better, make it a little stronger. And I left all the gaps tight. You can see how tight this is in here. This is all gonna be opened up, and this will probably be closed up a little bit more. So it's gonna need work. I glued this in place, and this is gonna get all matched. You know, this turned out really nice. So the whole car is gonna get block sanded again. You know, all this gel coat's either gonna get removed or they're just gonna scuff it up. So all these little nicks and chunks of stuff that are stuck to it will be removed. I think it's all looking pretty good. And then I think in our pile of parts, don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but this is a frog he's been playing with here to see for color. So it's not a black. This one, it didn't set up the greatest. For Pete's sake, this one didn't set up the greatest. You can see it cracked a little bit, but it's like a dark gray metallic charcoaly kind of color. So that's a color he's debating. I think it looks pretty sweet. So let me know what you guys think. That's gonna do it for Overkill. We're gonna pack them full of parts, roll them across the street, and bring some more projects in here. That's gonna do it for this video. If you enjoyed, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I will try to continue to post more on Overkill as it goes through its next stages in life. We're gonna see this thing start to come together. Once it leaves here, I believe it's gonna go get set up so it can start, you know, they can get it fired up, get the plumbing and stuff done with it, get it running and driving again with its new power plant, and then they can work on refining the bodywork, cleaning up the engine bay and the interior and all that stuff. So next week's video should be a fun one, but we're also gonna bring in the 65 Roadster. We have an open bay. So we're gonna bring that over. Overkill's gonna go back across the street, and we're just gonna keep on plugging away. So as you can see, I got a lot of work to do, and I'll catch you guys later.